on this week's edition of Star Wars Action Figure News. Slave Leia for the archive line in 2021 could be a thing, and we'll talk more about that. We delve into a podcast where the hosts of the channel get to talk to Patrick and the other guy from Hasbro, and there's a couple of questions that are very interesting, particularly about vintage. We'll tell you about how much the Snowspeed is going to cost here in this country, and also when is that Shadow Stormtrooper dropping in the US? You'll find out. All this and more coming up. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome to Usualmike Television. Today, you've probably noticed no more toy showcase on there. That's gone. It's a little bit different, but I'm still here. It's all exciting. This is the news. Went ahead and added more to my wall because, as you know, look down here. Oh, R2, Yak Face, Crate Luke, and along there is the 4-packs, which I haven't mounted up onto the wall yet. Don't worry, it's coming soon. I'll put it up on the wall. It'll look really good. How's the set looking? Brilliant as always. Oh, we're going to be talking about archive collection. As you know, this year there was no archive collection. There was 2 waves of it last year. If you don't know what archive collection is, I think my subscriber Timmy said, what is all this archive business about? It's where they take ye old figure from the blue lines or the orange lines. That's what they look like back in the day. They update them. They put them on this packaging. They rested it for this year because of something a little bit important, the 40th anniversary of Empire Strikes Back. So now that this is being produced this year, there's 3 waves. The 3rd wave is not available for pre-order because you're not supposed to know about that. That's one of the insider toy secrets that we keep. We know it's coming, and some of you guys do as well. There is 2 waves available now. Get it there and buy them all. Anyway, the Slave Leia. What I want to talk about, that was my vote. That was my vote, Slave Leia. Slave Leia prisoner, Jabba's prisoner, whatever you want to call her. They're going to probably change the name, but people have said before they're never going to make her. Watching the 6-inch show, episode 59, have a listen to what Matt says about Slave Leia.
I'm somewhat responsible because I shared a repaint that somebody did of Slave Leia or Hut Slayer, whatever you want to call her these days. And there's this ongoing, that in my opinion is this ongoing myth that Disney said they would never make Slave Leia again. And I've gone back, people have been quoting it to me and they've been throwing the article at me. And the article is a Screen Crush article from however many years ago where a Marvel Comics writer said he believed Disney and Lucasfilm would not go ahead with it in the current climate, blah, 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 blah. And Screen Crush and he even quotes, "This is my opinion."
Yeah.
And Screen Crush then says at the end of that article, we have reached out to Lucasfilm and Disney for comment, and they've given no comment. So everybody, it might be true, but for everybody who keeps responding saying Disney and Lucasfilm have said they will never make another Slave Leia property, it's like, show me the proof. They're very, very direct in their quoting, and maybe they won't, and maybe it's an opinion thing, but in my opinion, there is no fact to it, and we weren't told to remove her from the vote or consideration because in the past we're being told, I think on one of the vintage collection votes, don't bother with the twin sisters.
Yeah.
That one's not happening. Yeah. And they put it straight out there. It's not happening kind of thing. So look, it could be true, but at the same time, who knows? I'm just putting it out there. It was never confirmed as fact, but it gets quoted back as fact.
Yeah.
Non-stop on my page. It's like, that's a fact. Disney will never do it. It's like, Disney said they'd never do it again. It's like, where? Where did they say it?
So according to that, looks like if it wins enough votes, well, technically, I'm not quite sure how it's going to work. Remember there's 4 in the set. Each wave's got 4. Is Hasbro going to say, okay, you've given me 10 names, we're just going to go you, and you. Even though she can win with the massive amount of votes, she may still not get made. It's just fan vote. It can be a bit weird. Anyway, it has a potential to be made, which is fantastic. I'll put up this picture now of all the ones that are leading the race in the fan picks. As you can see in there, Slave Leia, Leia Bush, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Scarif, Stormtrooper, which is a bit of a waste because he can't update his face. Commander Cody, a Greedo, there's a Han and a Luke Hoth. These figures here, after the selection, they're winning the race to become the next 2021 archive wave, which will be wave 3 when we get to it. I'm excited now because Slave Leia. Woo! I have her over here in 3.75 inch. I don't own that 6-inch version, so I'd love to get 6-inch version of Slave Leia in the archive line coming soon. Okay, over on Star Wars Action News. They are a podcast. They've also got a YouTube channel which I put stuff up on occasionally. The podcast is their bread and butter. They're such a successful podcast that they get sent the big fancy box from Hasbro, and well, still waiting for mine at the mailbox. It's not coming. One of these days Hasbro may work with me, but I digress. They had an interview. They were the chosen ones, along with a couple of other fan channels, because, well, they're fans. Fans? Am I a fan Hasbro? Don't know. Anyway, they got to chat with Patrick Schneider, Senior Brand Manager for Star Wars over there at Hasbro, and Eric, is it Frainer? Product designer. He designs mostly the Black Series stuff. And let me tell you, a lot of criticism have come their way about there being a very lackluster amount of TVC. That's why I led the show putting up the TVC to show it's important. They got smashed in their live Fan First Friday on Hasbro Pulse. It was like, give me some more TVC. We are also endorsing Boss Bounty's #BackTVC as well. And on this podcast, I have a little bit of the snippet of a couple of questions. The first question that they ask is for the retro collection. We'll start with it. Oh, sorry, Anakin, out of the way. The retro collection. Ooh, I do believe that they may be an exclusive to this as well. I mentioned that before. It may be this guy in the end, Boba Fett. There'd be a nice shiny one or something. Anyway, get off course way too quickly. Will we see any vehicles or creatures or whatever that go with this line? Let's go to the question.
Given that 2 years in a row, the retro collection has been an instant sellout, are there any plans to expand the line with maybe creatures, playsets, or other toys from the vintage Kenner line?
That's interesting. We've been super excited about the retro collection. It seems to have kicked off a little trend of bringing back these figures from our youth, so we've loved seeing the reaction of fans to both the Ep 4 version and the Ep 5 one this year, and honestly, we had originally intended it for more casual fans, hitting that nostalgia throwback trend, but we've seen hardcore fans love it as well, so we've been really excited about that. Obviously, we always say we can't reveal anything that's not already revealed, but you know, that's an awesome idea. You know, if the retro collection continues in the future, it's definitely something we can explore. One thing we would want to make sure is that, you know, one of the things that makes the retro collection cool is those sculpts, and that styling is so different from what figures look like today. We just have to look at if the same thing is true for vehicles or creatures. I'm thinking vehicles especially, since those are easier to tool panels. There might not be as many differences from vehicles today, so it might not be as meaningful, but it's a cool idea. It's something we've talked about, and it's something you may see in the future.
So it looks like maybe vehicles because they're easier to tool. How about that? So an old school X-Wing might be the go. I wouldn't mind the unmade Bantha. That would be fantastic as well. But we'll see. Next question was about Fan First Friday. The flood of comments of TVC. Let's have a listen to that question.
During your Fan First Friday presentation, I'm sure you guys saw the flood of comments, some more polite than others. Star Wars collectors grew up on 3 3/4-inch figures and want more new versus smart repack vintage collection figures per year. There's all types of theories floated as to why the line has as few new figures annually as it does. Can you speak to the actual reasons why the 3 3/4-inch figure releases are so scaled back compared to the heyday of 10 years ago?
So leading it off, a few things I always try to say in questions around the vintage collection. We continue to hear rumors about the vintage collection's demise. I have literally no idea where those started. Those are not true. I feel the need to say this in every interview to tamp down those rumors. The vintage collection is fully in our plans as far out as we're planning the line. So I just want to put that out there. I've said it before, and I've gotten some pushback on it, but we do really love both scales. I mentioned this on the live stream, and it's true. Like, the vintage collection is my favorite expression. I love the Black Series as well. Eric's a big fan of that, but I love it for all the reasons I detailed on the live stream. This means that I'm also on the record as saying the figure I most want to see next in the Black Series is Joruus C'baoth from Heir to the Empire, and I'm not breaking any news to say that that's not coming anytime soon. So there's kind of that personal fandom piece, and then there's what's the right direction to do for the business. At this point, you're right. The vintage collection in terms of numbers is not what it was 10 years ago. All I can say to that is the levels of vintage collection and Black Series basically reflect what we're seeing in the market. That being said, obviously we hear the comments that the Black Series gets stuff that the vintage collection doesn't, and that's true. It does happen a little bit in the other direction as well, not as much as in the first direction, but we were really excited, obviously, a couple months ago to reveal and announce and bring to market the Imperial Troop Transport for the Vintage Collection. Obviously, the Black Series didn't get that, and that gets to one of the cool things about the Vintage Collection is that you can do vehicles like that. Obviously, that has a great history, and we're excited to bring that to the Vintage Collection. The Vintage Collection got some Rise of Skywalker items before the Black Series did, so it does go to some extent in both directions, but we're always evaluating it, and basically what we say is, tell us what you think in the comments and at conventions, but also at the end of the day, vote with your wallets, and if we see that demand, we'll bring more to the Vintage Collection.
So what Patrick has said once before is it's not what it was 10 years ago. We know this, and that's why we're annoyed that the runs of Vintage Collection is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. So this year is like 4 waves, 4 figures each, and 2 of those waves are just repacks from stuff previously, kind of like an archive wave thing. Yeah. We just want more. We want to see... You ever seen those old vintage images where they're just like, oh, look at these boxes here where there's thousands of figures? We don't see that anymore. A case goes to the store and there's like 6 figures in it, and there's 4 in the wave and 2 of the repacks. It's like, that's it. That's it. We want it to be jacked up really tremendously. And we don't want them to waste money on other lines. But everything's budgeted out so they can get the kids in. But let's go to the last question. Will TVC go back to what it used to be?
Sorry to keep hitting you with the Vintage Collection questions, but to follow up on that previous question, what would need to transpire for the Vintage Collection line to return to putting out 50 to 75 newly sculpted or retooled figures per year like was done 10 years ago?
In terms of kind of returning the Vintage Collection back, candidly, I don't think we'll ever see that with any of our lines. Like, basically kind of where we are today, 50 to 75 new or retooled figures just isn't something we do in any line. It's something that we wouldn't see again. In terms of getting back closer to that, it really is the same answer of let us know the passion. And we've seen this in the comments, but it really is that voting with the wallets. Basically, as you've seen throughout the years with different lines coming and going, like I said, I have my personal fandom, but we make the right decisions for the business. And if we see an opportunity there to drive the Vintage Collection further, we'll do that. But it just has to make sense in terms of the market.
And the answer to that one was never to be seen again. Thanks, Hasbro. Anyway, some of us feel like Hasbro's kind of focusing on a lot of Black Series, because Black Series don't just get regular stuff, they get exclusives, they get deluxes that are there, they get the big exclusive deluxes, then they do carbonized, and then they do bloody gaming greats. I mean, Black Series isn't just one line. Black Series is tons of stuff. And some of us like, why can't we have more in ours? But they said, hey, there's that vehicle. If you want to drop 140 on a vehicle, doesn't come with a figure though. Let's not be too harsh. They do give us some fantastic stuff when we finally get our hands on it. Anyway, let's move on to the Black Series vehicle. Ooh, you know about this one. This is the Snow Speeder. It has Dak Ralta in it as a pack-in figure. It was not available here in Australia, but now this image Check it out, $229. I know it comes with a figure, but I didn't think the figure would be a $100 pack. It's a great looking thing. Other than that, it's just the price is a little bit steep. I know you guys around the world will be like, are you getting that one? No. I tell you what, I'd love the figure, but vehicles aren't the set of my collection. I love the figures. Remember the Mandalorian AT-ST, the Raider? It came with a figure. I was like, I wanted that just for the figure. But I let it go. So no more Clatoonian Raider for me. Last but not least, this bad boy. Very, very popular. Is around the world envious that Australia got them first. I don't know why. This wasn't the kind of thing that we walked into the shop and said, can we pre-order? This literally walked into a shop. It was on the shelf. Stores got them that day. They pretty much sold out of them immediately. I don't even think they're available online from that particular store anymore. All gone skis. You may see a couple online of people just putting them on there times by 5. Check the price right up. You know what I mean? Scalping. But who would want to sell this? This is lovely. Did I hold it up last time in the picture? Oh, look. Let's get in for a nice clean shot of that Gaming Greats Shadow Stormtrooper. I'll read the back a little bit for you. The Force Unleashed follows Darth Vader's secret apprentice trained to hunt down and destroy Jedi, while Shadow Stormtroopers are cloaking devices to ambush enemies. Shadow Stormtroopers are cloaking devices to ambush enemies? Oh, they use... Sorry. I not brain work well. And the side, do that. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Yes. Up on the screen you can see shipping from your GameStops in the US on July the 1st. Excellent, so not too far to wait. I do have to do something with my retro collection very soon by mounting them up high on the wall, but I like them here while they are fresh and hot and everyone knows about them, so I can put them up to the screen and show you all what they're all about. Lovely, lovely. Remember I told you about figure shields? Both videos shown in this one will be in the links down below to watch the full extent of Star Wars action figure news and Fly Guys, the 6-inch show. What I don't tell you about often is my Amazon affiliate. Down in the description there is a link you can click on to shop from my store. If you don't want to shop from my store, just going through the door of the link, you can go into the world of Amazon and buy whatever you like. If you need batteries for torch, flashlight, protector cases, whatever it might be, it's available there. I make a tiny little bit of commission off that every time you make a purchase. And my shirts, I'm thinking about getting some new designs on my shirts. That's my merch available in my Redbubble store. Buying from the Redbubble store helps out this channel, so thank you very much. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter at Usualmike30 or on Instagram at Usualmike Television. If you'd like to send some fan mail, it's PO Box 957, Lismore, New South Wales 2480. And if you haven't done so already, hit subscribe. Tap that little bell for notifications. Slap a like on this video if you've enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time. All the best.